one of your best months was $14,000. Is that right?
That's right.
Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor. And listen, you are back with me right here at Wealthy Investor TV. Nice to see you. This is the place to be if you want to hear from real stock market traders and investors, how they make money. And best of all, you can too. Tonight's episode is really about secrets of a successful trader. And guess who's joined us? One of my favorite students, Greg Wojtanek. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tyrone. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. How's it feel to be back here in the studio? You've been on the podcast a number of times.
I have been on the podcast. This is better than Oprah.
Isn't it? This is huge. And
Yeah.
we fed you before. You had food.
Free food.
Right.
I'll come back every week.
We really do it up at this show.
It's great.
I'm so thrilled that you are here. This episode is about secrets of successful stock market trading and investing. And you have been trading and investing in the stock market now for 7 years. Is that correct?
7 years, yeah.
Now, one of your best months was $14,000. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, I want you to hold on because we're going to get to how you actually achieve that. And a lot of people think the stock market's about making a quick buck, right? But for 7 years, you've managed to be consistent. So let's go back in your history because you're going to be sharing some of your success secrets with us. How did you get started in the stock market and what attracted you to it?
What attracted me to it was the idea of my money should be making money instead of just sitting there on the sidelines and watching the quote-unquote professionals make all the money. And then what really got me in the stock market was my introduction to Tyrone Jackson.
Oh, well, thank you. That's mighty nice of you.
That's true, though. A friend of mine, my sister-in-law actually, was taking your class, your courses, and she said, Greg, I think this guy might be right up your alley. And I went to the first meeting, and I was on board within seconds. Mm-hmm. Seconds.
And what got you about it? I mean, I know I have this way of talking to the market and making it simple, but for you, what was the thing that made you said, I think I could do this?
The simplicity of it, and yes, you do have a way of talking and all that kind of stuff, like you said, but just how you did break it down into simplistic terms. And that you can go to Yahoo Finance, for example, to just do some of your basic research, and you don't need the big degree. You don't need to work on Wall Street. You don't need to work at a hedge fund to understand how this works and to make it work for you. That's what really attracted me to it, and it hit that part of my brain that was very easily understandable.
Well, you're a writer-actor person, mm-hmm. and a lot of people, I always joke that, when I first started the program back in New York City, and now we do it in LA, there's an online version, someone told me you'll never get that many people who are creative to trade and invest in the stock market because creative people don't like money. And I, of course, said, Mom, trust me, I know what I'm doing, right? So you are one of those creative people. So you're not only an actor, but you're also a writer. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about that notion that like creative people just aren't good with money and they just want to tell stories and be creative?
Yeah, I don't know where that rumor started.
Okay, but not true.
Not true.
Mm-hmm.
I am living proof of it. There's many other people that I know through you that are, makes that not true as well. You can have a creative brain and be interested in your finances at the same time.
Yes.
And your future.
Now, was there anyone in your family who had a sophisticated financial background?
No.
Okay.
Nobody.
Tell us about your parents. What did they do?
My dad worked in a factory for many years. My mom was our lunch lady at school.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew this.
No.
She was my brother and I. It's us two. She was our lunch lady in grade school and high school.
Okay.
And then after that, she worked, at an office job and that kind of stuff. So it was lower middle class right there down the middle. And we didn't have a lot of luxuries at all. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're very blue collar. My whole family, blue collar family. My uncle has his own construction business. On my aunt's side, they work on the railroad. It's very, very blue collar. No financial background really whatsoever.
So when you tell your family, because a lot of people say this, I'll try trading online just to kind of see how it goes, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden you tell your family that I'm gonna put some money to work in the stock market. Usually, the first reaction is fear.
Yes.
So what did they say to you?
Oh, the first thing was, Oh, that's the dangerous one.
Oh, is that right?
The first thing my mom said when I said like an example of what I do is cover call, Mom.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, it's, I got in this program, learn to trade stocks, mainly cover call. Oh, that's the risky, dangerous.
Covered calls were risky is what your mother said.
Risky and dangerous.
Okay.
Because she didn't know.
Right.
That's why.
Why do you think most people who first start trading or thinking about investing their own money feel the sense of fear first?
I think it's that societal outlook when on focusing on the negative. For some reason, people are drawn to, like the news. The news is violence and guns and fire, and that's what people watch, and there's some sort of attraction to it. So when you hear those stories of somebody losing everything they had in the stock market, that someone jumping off a building because they just lost everything, that's the thing that people latch onto. But they don't latch onto or hear for every one of those, there's 1,000 other good stories and good things that come from it. So I think for some weird reason, people are attracted to that fear, and I don't quite understand it.
But it's also interesting because also in the media, you're also getting stories. Hey, listen, Mark Zuckerberg's worth $38 billion. How many shares of Facebook does he own? The Microsoft guy, Bill Gates, right? $50 billion. Why is it you think people don't take to those stories as a form of motivation? I mean, these guys are some of the richest people on the planet.
Yeah, right. I think it's something unattainable, something that people think is unattainable. It's so far beyond what they've been taught. In our schools, we weren't taught you can make $1 billion. We were never taught about dividends and covered calls or bear call spreads or
stock splits. Yeah.
Stock splits. We were never taught that.
Right.
And so whenever you see that, it's always somebody who's so far removed from your perception of reality that it just seems unattainable to most people.
No, and I'm always fascinated by the fact that here are these stories that are floating out there in the media. Anybody can Google Mark Zuckerberg's net worth right now.
Yeah.
And, there are tons of stories written on them, but yet when it comes to opening an account at E-Trade or somebody, they're really afraid to do it.
Yeah. I know that it's a lack of education.
Well, that's why you're here. And thank you so much for being here tonight, because I really want to get into more of your story. You are a guy who is making money. You are doing it. And your best month was what? I want people to hear from you.
The best month I had trading was $14,000.
$14,000 trading was your best month?
Yes.
Okay. So let's break that down and let's talk about that.
Sure.
What were you doing to make $14,000 in 1 month?
I was doing that risky, dangerous thing.
That covered call, right?
Called covered calls.
Okay.
Yep.
So we talk about that all the time here on Wealthy Investor TV. So just explain to those people who might not know what a covered call is, what it is that you're doing exactly.
What it is I will buy a certain amount of shares of stock, and I will sell a covered call against those shares.
Which is an option to buy the stock away from you.
Correct. To somebody who will guarantee for a certain price.
Yes.
They say, if you want to buy this away from me on this date, I will hold these shares for you at this price. In order to do that, you will pay me X amount of dollars per share.
Yes.
That's pretty much as simple as it can be.
Right. And
I did that a few times over a month and made $14,000.
Right. That's really good. So you are a covered call writer, would you say first, or volatility trading and dividends second? How would you rank that?
Yeah, covered call writing first, dividend capturing second, or the major part of my strategy, and hold/growth as my number 3. And I have 4 and 5 like a bear call spreads and other things.
You do bear call spreads?
I do.
You never told me that.
I do some bear call spreads.
Okay. All right. Very nice. You like them, right?
I do.
Yeah, because the return on the spread is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's stick back with this $14,000 because I really want people to understand that you are real, and that this is 1 month, and you're going to have multiple months like that because practice makes perfect. So you will cover call writing. We won't say the specific stock since it may have gone down, but there's one stock that had high volatility, which caused the call premiums to be very, very large.
Correct.
And so when you were cover call writing on that stock, it's because you wanted to take in those large call option premiums, right?
Correct.
Okay. And obviously it worked.
Obviously it worked. I was doing it on a weekly basis.
Okay.
And so I was trading on a Monday, getting in on Monday,
Right.
Getting called out on Friday. Saturday.
I see what you're doing. So you were selling a covered call on Monday that expired on Friday?
Correct.
So what we call extrinsic value was running out of that call option. So you were capturing these large premiums. And you were called out on Friday sometimes, and sometimes you weren't, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if you were called out, you got not only the call option premium, but also the cap gains
Correct.
for the sale of the stock. Were there certain days when you weren't called out and you kept the shares?
Yeah.
And then you sold another covered call?
Just sold another covered call.
Perfect. And anybody can do this strategy if they have the right education.
Yeah.
Were your calls, because I want really people to understand how they could have a shot at this 14,000, were your covered calls out of the money calls, in the money, or some combination thereof?
At that time, I was as close to at the money as possible.
Okay.
That's usually my, well, at that time, that was my strategy.
Right.
Now I like to split it out, some in the money, some out of the money. But at that time, I was just getting it as close to at the money as possible. Sometimes it was a little bit out. Sometimes it may have been a little bit in, but just as close to at the money as possible.
So when you're selling that at the money call, were your capital gains 50 cents a share, or well, if they were at the money, you were willing to forego the cap gains and just take the call premium?
Yeah. Okay. And with that stock, I think some of those weeks were as high as like 50 cents a share, correct? Maybe 60 to 75 cents a share of cap gains. And sometimes it was only, a nickel or a dime.
Right.
Somewhere in there.
So I think I see what you're saying. So in your case, you were saying, here's that fat, plump premium.
Fat.
Yes.
It's huge.
I will forego the cap gains.
Yeah.
Just so I can take in this calculated return. Okay.
Yeah, and minimize that risk of, because I was doing it on a weekly basis, that window, of the stock going up or down drastically was very small.
Right.
So very, very small window. And since it was close to at the money, I was just kind of churning it just very quickly.
Yeah. Well, listen, you place it on Monday, you're out on Friday. That's really good.
And the stock really wasn't moving.
Right, during that period of time. Now, you also knew, or were you thinking about, because I talk a lot about downside protection. In other words, if I sell an out of the money covered call for $6.95, I don't lose any money on those shares until the stock goes below $6.95 because I have that built-in protection for the covered calls. Were you thinking about that as part of the strategy as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it did pull back, X amount of dollars, I was still covered because those premiums were so good.
Oh,
at
definitely.
the time.
Yeah, definitely.
I was covered that much.
Right.
And so I was not worried if it went down $2, $3 that week, or whatever it was in a week. I was fine.
Yeah, right. Because
totally fine.
You got to keep the stock plus the premium. Your cost basis went down on the shares, and you simply sell another cover call.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, that was definitely part of, I want to make that clear. That was also part of the strategy of not just trying to ride a stock up.
Right.
I was okay if it pulled back.
Right.
Still making money.
Okay. So you had this in and out of the money or slightly out of the money cover call situation going. You started selling the calls on Monday.
Yeah.
There's the smile I'm looking for. You're doing really well. I love how you set this up as a strategy. You'd go back in on Monday, sell more calls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. What were you doing with the income that you were generating from call selling?
Putting it in a couple of things, actually, because it was such a good time.
Right.
Some of it was being taken out for personal use.
Oh, right. So you were spending some of the premiums to support your lifestyle.
But most of it was being reinvested into a growth stock.
Okay. So what we do in the Wealthy Investor Program, I do this show because I really want people to get how powerful this is. So you were taking some profits out, putting it in your pocket, and then reinvesting the call premium in long-term stocks.
Correct.
Okay.
And I also was able to get an extra 100 shares of that same stock.
Oh, so it was almost like you were compounding.
So I was compounding it, being able to sell another contract that week.
Okay, so let me explain to the audience because some people are going to be a little bit lost.
More money.
Right. I totally see what you were doing. You were cover call writing on this highly volatile stock. When you bring in call premium, because not everybody knows this, if you have an account that has margin, the call premium not only is income, but it also grows your margin. So you were experiencing a kind of compounding, because if you took in $2,100, let's just say, in premium, I'm looking at the math here, it had to be almost $3,500 a week in call premiums. Your margin was growing by $3,500.
Yeah.
You do that for 2 weeks in a row, you can get another 100 shares of the same stock.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. I love that. Okay, so that's how you grew the account and had cash for yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that stock that you were trading, we're intentionally not mentioning it because it has... There are better trades. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So that stock that you were trading at that time, have you then taken that same strategy and been able to duplicate it somewhere else in your account?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Not to that level. Not to
because that volatility was extremely high.
Yeah. That's a good time. But the exact same strategy is pretty much what I still do.
Okay. All right.
And have always done.
Right. Because why abandon what's working?
Right. Don't break. Don't fix it. Ain't broke.
I'm with you on that. Okay. Now, you have some secrets that you're going to share with us. But before we get to your secrets, I want to talk about these long-term holds that you like. And I just want to say to anybody who's listening, you don't necessarily have to buy these stocks. They may not be for you. But there are some companies in this market that you actually, we refer to it as building a position on, right? We're going to buy more of them as they go up. We use these things called buy signals, et cetera, et cetera. One of the companies that you like and has been really good to you is Visa, ticker symbol V. Why do you like that stock so much?
Love Visa. One, I understand its story, the company. I get what they do. Two, and this is the big one, is who doesn't buy stuff with Visa?
I know.
And, with the brick and mortar stores closing more and more every year, that just is driving all the shopping online. When you shop online, you need a credit card. What credit card are you going to go to? There's pretty much two out there. And that's why. And Visa's only going to grow more and more and more over the next however many years just through online shopping.
Right. And Visa's not, a lot of people think it's a bank. It's actually a brand that markets itself, licenses its name to the bank.
And another very simple thing that I like about them is if they don't project they're going to make enough money, they just raise their fee another
Isn't that
2 cents.
Okay. I'm so happy you said that because along the investing line, people think like, how can these revenues keep rising? It's like, well, if you charge banks a little bit more, you satisfy shareholders. Yeah. Hello, that stock is going to rise if you're owning it based on fundamentals. Let's get to your next one. Everybody who watches Wealthy Investor TV around the world, everybody knows how I feel about Disney. Ticker symbol DIS. You like Disney. What are the reasons?
They pay a dividend. They look at their chart. I mean, since 1964, whenever they became a publicly traded company, it only goes up. I mean, not to say it's going to go up.
Right.
Fair
in
warning.
The future, right.
But man, I mean, they're Disney. All the things that Disney owns, including the networks like ABC and ESPN. But of course, their movies and their franchise
and the
movies.
Merchandising for the movies, huge business.
And their parks and their stores. It's Disney.
Right.
It's an empire.
Now we have one, and this is not necessarily a recommendation, but you enjoy Amazon the way that I like. It's very expensive to own, but man, over time, that thing has done really well.
Yeah, and I haven't even owned it that long.
Right, I know.
It's only been a few months.
Yeah.
And what I tell friends, you and I had talked about this, who say, well, that's too expensive.
Right.
I'm not going to buy shares of that. That's way too expensive.
Right.
But they're the same people who are buying stocks that are worth 30 cents.
That is correct.
They're like, I can buy 1,000 shares of the 1/3. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead and buy your 30-cent stock.
Right.
I'll take my 2 shares of Amazon, and it's going to grow a lot more than your 30-cent stock will.
And people are so stuck on this notion that if they get a cheap stock, they have a lot of something. But if you have a lot of something that Wall Street doesn't like, the stock is not going to move.
Right. It's just a lot of crap.
Exactly. There's another word that I use, but you're with me on that.
Yes.
So we are locked in sync with that one.
We are locked in. I love it. I love Amazon.
Great. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick little commercial break, and we're going to talk about 3 secrets that you would give someone who's really interested in being successful in the stock market. And we'll do that after the break.
All
right. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Wealthy Investor TV. Tyrone Jackson, a Wealthy Investor, with my special guest, Greg Wojtanek, right after you take a look at this. Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, and I know something about you. You're always wondering what stock should you trade and what stock should you invest in. That's why you can follow my trades every single week at witradeschool.com. You see, at WI Trade School, I help people just like you make money in the stock market. Whether the market goes up, goes down, or stay the same. And one of the benefits of becoming a WI Trade School member is I'll answer your trading questions every single week in my video blog. Now, the best thing about WI Trade School, you have access to it 24 hours a day as long as you have an internet connection. So log on to witradeschool.com or click below and I'll see you there. It's time for me to help you make money in the stock market right now. Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, and you're watching Wealthy Investor TV. All right, we are back with today's special guest, Greg Voitanek. You ready?
I'm ready, man.
Okay, now, before the break, you were actually sharing with us how you structured your trades. In this case, it was cover calls to have that dynamic month. Now I want to shift a little bit and talk a little bit about the mindset, because you've been trading for 7 years, making consistent money this whole time. Why? You obviously love trading and making money, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What keeps you connected to the stock market? I myself cannot imagine a week without trading. It's like breathing to me.
Yes.
And so no matter where I am in the world, I'm logging into my accounts and I am always trading. I think it's the greatest way to make a lot of money if you're willing to put in the time, research, and be consistent. What is it for you? What draws you to the market and keeps you in the game, so to speak?
A few things. The main thing is don't panic. That's what I've learned over the years, is not to panic. I'm sure when I first started, I did. And
does that mean because you own a stock and it went down, and then you're trying to figure, oh my God, I lost money on the stock? Is that what you mean by not panicking?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of them, sure. But now I realize it's fine. I know how to make money no matter what happens in the stock market.
Okay.
So I no longer panic if the world's going to blow up, everything's going to pull back, all sorts of stuff.
Right.
And people are panicking and there's bad news. I don't panic.
A lot of people like to use the term stock market crash. Most of the stocks that we trade, because they're fundamentally sound, they don't crash. They pull back from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a gentler phrase that the market is crashing, right?
Phrase, yeah.
I'm in the middle of a pullback. I know what to do in a pullback. In a crash, I'm jumping out of the window,
Right. Yeah, and again, I think my first 6 months, I'm sure I chose a stock that crashed.
Okay, right.
And I panicked.
Right, right.
But yeah, no more.
Okay, so one of your secrets is never panic.
Don't panic.
Okay, but it's easy not to panic if the fundamentals are there to support the stock price going higher.
Correct.
Okay.
Sure.
And then the other one that you really are committed to covered calls, which is the primary strategy I teach.
That's it, man. It's so easy. That also is in line with not panicking, because if the stock pulls back, I know what my cost basis is. So it helps emotionally as well, but it's just so easy to make money on a monthly basis and sometimes a weekly basis. And it's just so low risk and simple in my mind. So I love it, and I'll never stop selling covered calls.
Yeah.
I'll always do that.
It's just an easy trade.
It's so
and
easy.
Sometimes people want this whole making money in the stock market thing to be so difficult. If covered calls is your core, there's always money to be made, right?
Always money to be made.
Now, this other issue, which is you consider to be one of your trading success secrets, is you're willing to be bored.
I am willing to be bored.
Okay, explain that. What does that mean?
Because a lot of the trades are structured on a Monday, for example, covered calls. That's when I like to do them, you like to do them, and the premiums and that kind of stuff. But a covered call only takes a few seconds, maybe a minute or so to complete in my account. And then after that, you sit and wait. And it's kind of boring. But it's something that you said to me at one point, and I repeat to other people, is if you're bored, you're doing something right.
Yes.
So be willing to be bored while you're trading, and you're doing something right.
I think and the reason I say that, a lot of people look at the market as being exciting. And this time is exciting for all of us. But we want that steady Eddie thing that works like clockwork. And in this case, it happens to be covered call writing.
That's correct.
Now, someone is watching this show, so I have found, because people stop me on the street, they actually binge watch every episode. So they're really hanging on everything that you say. And you can verify the fact that you're like a real person, right?
I'm a real person. Yes.
Because some people,
I really do this.
Yes, you really do exist in the world.
So
right?
people just like Tyrone and chill?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Instead of Netflix and chill, they just Tyrone and chill, and they just binge on Tyrone?
I've done it on other shows that I like. I will just stay on YouTube and just watch. And now people are doing that with this show, which I'm so
great.
honored on, right?
That's great. Good for you. If you're watching this and binging, good for you.
Yes, your
Stick
job
with it.
is to watch as much Wealthy Investor TV as possible. I promise it'll serve you well. So my question to you is, what other word of advice would you give someone who's got an account open and not making consistent money in the market outside of they should be writing cover calls? We know that. Is there any other advice you would give them?
If they have an account already, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to dive in and trade. That's the only way to learn, and it's it's going to help you get over that fear factor as well. So don't be afraid. Try some of the methods and try it at it. You can take baby steps. Try what's comfortable for you. But once you're in, once you dip your toes in the water, you're going to find that it's very comfortable and very easy.
Where do you see yourself with stock market trading in, let's say, 5 years from now? What are you doing in the market? Do you have dollar goals or what?
Every year I set a goal of dividends. For example, like this year, I want to, by the end of the year, have made X amount of dollars just in dividends. Overall, X amount of dollars as well. And I make a yearly goal, but within that yearly goal, I have the monthly goals in order to help me obtain that yearly goal. Mm-hmm. So if I make X amount of dollars every month, I will then, make my yearly goal. And so, in 5 years, I don't see myself slowing down, just the steady eddy. Keep going. And I'll be happy no matter what happens in the stock market. And that's such a great relief. What a great feeling.
Isn't that nice to know that financially you can always make money trading whether markets go up, down, or stay the same?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy. And I thank you so much for coming in and spending some time here at Wealthy Investor TV. Now, I'm just going to get you on camera. Will you come back?
I will come back for the free food. But I will come back for you and the people watching as well.
Thank you. You come back for the viewers, baby. That's how we do it. Yes. Thank you, Greg, for stopping in studio with us today.
It was my pleasure. Anytime.
Hey, it's always a great day if you're watching Wealthy Investor TV, where real traders share their stories on how they make money, and you can too. Stick with us, watch the next episode, and then the one after that. And this is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, saying stay open, stay positive, because you can build wealth and create residual income in the stock market if you have the right financial education. I'll see you next time. Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, and I know something about you. You're always wondering what stock should you trade and what stock should you invest in. That's why you can follow my trades every single week at witradeschool.com. You see, at WI Trade School, I help people just like you make money in the stock market. Whether the market goes up, goes down, or stay the same. And one of the benefits of becoming a WI Trade School member is I'll answer your trading questions every single week in my video blog. Now, the best thing about WI Trade School, you have access to it 24 hours a day as long as you have an internet connection. So log on to witradeschool.com or click below and I'll see you there. It's time for me to help you make money in the stock market right now. Hey, this is Tyrone Jackson, a Wealthy Investor from WITV, Wealthy Investor TV. If you like the video you just saw, I need you to do me a favor. Click that subscribe button right there. Do you see the subscribe button? Great. Click it. That way, when I create a brand new video, you'll be notified.